Hey guys, I'm gonna be doing a little workflow demonstration today with all the tools I use for AI, my workflows, and the process I have currently for building. So first, as you can see, I got Cursor here. Cursor has quickly became my go-to. What I do is I use Claude Code in Cursor on the side here. So I use my Claude subscription. I use Opus for all my coding pretty much. And basically, it's pretty self-explanatory, but on the side here, you have your chat window where you just tell what to do and tell Claude what to do. And then here you can preview the website. In this case, I'm making a portfolio website. It's still in progress. This is not a demo on that yet, but working on this. And you can type in here, just do some commands and skills. It also has MCP and skills in here, like different slash commands. So anything you build in Claude Code, the terminal, you can still use here, which is nice. And it still can control your Mac and run terminal commands. It's pretty good. Good context window, pretty responsive. I found it to be a little easier to code in Cursor than Claude Code Terminal, just because better interface, to be honest. Okay, so next is Claude Code in the terminal. Basically, what use this for is I have a lot of skills that I've worked on. So I have one that helps me tailor my resume. I have a job search skill. You can download skills off GitHub as well. So I have a front end design skill that gives Claude more instruction on how to build a nice looking UI and a front end. I have one for homework. It goes to my Canvas, checks my syllabuses and the schedules, and tells me what I have to do for the day. I also have an Excel one, PowerPoint one, MCP builder, screenshot cleanup, just cleans up my desktop with screenshots, pretty self-explanatory. Skill creator. Also, it has Claude in Chrome, which is nice. While you're coding, you can tell it to go check it out, check what you're building out in Chrome. So it opens up Chrome and then will view the site, take screenshots, give you critiques. So that's super helpful. Claude Code in the terminal, I found is best for automations and controlling your Mac. So you can use this, tell what to do, and it basically will ask you permission, but it'll just execute stuff on your Mac, which is pretty sick. You can install things, run certain commands. Obviously, you can code, but it's just a super good way to automate things and kind of speed up your workflow. So the next one is Claude Cowork. Cowork is the non-technical version of Claude Code. So what it does is it lives in the app, the Claude desktop app, and it has all the same functionalities of Claude Code where it can go on your Mac, write files, take control, but it's for things that are not coding, obviously. So what I'll use it for is I'll give it 4 or 5 different things that I want it to do. I want you to go look at my syllabuses, my schedules, check out my website, draft an email, put the email in a markdown in this folder, give me a brief on this, research this. You give it that commands and it just runs through the checklist, puts the folders, does it all for you. So it's very intelligent. It runs automations through and through. I found it works longer and works harder than usual Claude, like in the chat. So it's good for like multi-step tasks in a sense, and you can let it work in a folder. So it can be confined to a folder, or you can just let it run on your Mac, either way. And also a new thing they added in is plugins. So essentially you can download these like Claude specific plugins they give you. So there's ones for marketing, one for content, et cetera, for sales. You can also import them your own. You could build them, and you can create skills, which are essentially like a script of code and natural language that just tells Claude what to do. So I could create one like marketing brief, whatever, that I'll customize it my way, however I want it to, and it'll run these same steps over and over. Which this is huge for knowledge workers, for marketing people, for salespeople. Just if you need consistency of what you want to do and you want to give it access to your whole Mac, this is the way to go for that. The next, what I've been using a little bit lately for front end design is Google Stitch. Google Stitch, essentially, you use Nano Banana, which is, if you know AI, it's the best model for pictures, and you can design either an app, the UI of an app, or a UI of a website, and then it builds it, and then you can iterate on it. So let's say give me a landing page for Baylor University. Let's do a design. All right, so it's done now. It made this. So now we have this landing page for Baylor. It looks pretty damn good. From here, you can keep talking to it and tell you what you want it to do. So for example, if I told it to change something, it would create another picture next to it, and because a visual trail of your iterations and your prompting. So it's you just try out prompts, and if you don't like it, you go back to where you were and branch off. So it's a nice sequential workflow editor for designing UIs. And then when you're done and you have something you like, you can export as code, which is super helpful. And then from there, you can put that code into Claude Code or into Cursor or whatever you want to use. And that's a good way to design the UI here with Nano Banana, and then also bring it into your project. Also, there's a MCP for Claude Code to use Stitch. So I haven't done this yet, but you can connect it where Claude can talk to Stitch, use Nano Banana, and then design from there. So next, Antigravity. I know some of you guys weren't really sure what that is, but I'll give you a quick run through. So it's nothing crazy. You open up a folder, same way as you would for anything else, and you have an agent manager here, which is your typical AI. You can talk to it. You can pick the model, which they give you Opus, which is super helpful if you run out of, if you have no more rate limits for Claude, you can go over here and use it some more. You can talk to it like usual, your classic AI coding helper. Where anti-gravity is great is you can, as you're coding, it'll open up Chrome automatically and test what your features are, and then go back to the agent and start coding some more. So it has a really good browser that lets you test out your site or your platform or automation, and it says, oh, this feature doesn't work yet. Let me go back in, let me code. So it runs these long running tasks and it'll keep verifying it, how it's doing in Chrome. And has really good native integration because it's Google that does both Chrome and Antigravity. So that's where I found it to be super nice. It's a good UI. It's fun to use. I don't prefer it over Claude Code. I just like the way Cursor or Claude Code and Cursor or the terminal feels. But when you have no more limits for Claude, a great place to go to get some more Opus credits and keep working on your project. So now this is N8N. This is the most popular state-of-the-art automation platform that people use, that I use to develop automations. This is great because you have all these nodes over here. If you're not familiar with N8N, it's pretty sick. You can add nodes. You got AIs. I apologize for that. The AIs, you can do an action in an app. You connect Google Sheets, Telegram, Notion, just external services you might use for your business. Connect them in there as a data point. You organize it, you can call APIs. So in this case, I call it Perplexity. This one was a Chrome extension I built that reads the tweets I bookmark and then researches them further and then sends it to my Google Docs. So you got webhooks, pretty much anything you want to do, you can do in here. And the great thing is with Claude, you can download a N8N MCP that it essentially just downloads all of the docs and the files and the coding for N8N, and it knows how to make an automation through and through. So you use the MCP within Claude, and it'll just build you automations whenever you want. So there's no issues of long formatting or knowing what to do because Claude has it built in. So it's a super helpful way to build these automations. This is a great way to get some quick projects done. Some things are just easier to do in here than coding it hard code. And also, it's hosted. You just pay monthly, but it hosts in the cloud. It's secure. It's safe. So I'd say it's an easier way to get some stuff up quickly as opposed to coding it and hosting it yourself and all those issues with security and whatnot. A quick spotlight on Perplexity. This is my go-to for research. I use the deep research here, ask any question, and what it does is it as I said in my write-up, it'll search for like 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, which is a good amount of time where it's not too long where I have to wait for it to finish and I lose productivity, but it's also not too quick where I know it's not gonna be accurate. So it's a good 2 to 3 minute search with like 50 to 100 sources. So it's very accurate, but it's done relatively quick. So it's a good day-to-day researcher. I really enjoy that. And also, if you want to use any model, it has all the models and built in. So if you have the Max Plane, you can use Opus, but the rest of them, you just pick whatever you want with thinking. You try different models out, which is pretty sweet. You can build projects called spaces, kind of like ChatGPT has that as well. They also have different like shopping, travel, finance built in. So they do a pretty good job of adding features and giving you connectivity. Also, a new feature that came out this week was Model Council. If you have the Max Plane, you can ask a question and then see what the top models from each platform get, how they respond. So you can get live models working together on the same question and get a better answer that way. That's it for today. There's some tools I use on the daily to code, to build, to automate things. It's my workflow currently. If any questions, reach out for sure. I'm happy to answer questions. Appreciate you watching and tune in next week. I'll have some more content up and hopefully have some new fresh projects that are done for y'all.